Hello, Ravens fans, and welcome to another season preview. I'm Aaron Schneider, the Sports Information Director at Anderson University, and joining us for our men's soccer preview is head coach Scott Fridley. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
All right. First, let's dive into things. Let's talk about last year. We're come 2 years ago. We're coming off a last place finish in the conference, and after bringing in big freshman class and bringing in we saw a jump. We were able to get third in the conference. You ended up getting HCAC Coach of the Year. Tell us a little bit about what you saw out of last year. How you were able to have the success that you did.
Well, I think with where things were during COVID, I think that season could have gone a lot of different ways. Unfortunately, it went sour for us. When those things happen, you gotta make some changes. You gotta bring some new faces in. We were able to bring in a big freshman class. We were starting 8 freshmen at different points of the season. And what that did for us in the off season, I think it created a lot more even competition. Some of the guys that maybe had lost their spots or had just done what they didn't need, what they hadn't done enough to get back on the field. I think all that has changed from the spring. We have a competitive group. We have a deep group. Our offense is deeper than it's ever been. Those freshmen are now sophomores, a big piece of that. We had another freshman class of 12 come in this year that we're very high on. There's some players in that group that can help us immediately. I think we have a good mix. I think we have 4 seniors, maybe 3 juniors, and then everybody else is underclassmen. But they are driven to win, and they want to win. And as I said in my last interview, as long as I don't mess it up, we might be all right.
All right.
But it's just the opportunity of getting young guys together, getting them playing together to where hopefully we can come out and get it done.
All right. So, and then now we look at this year. What would you say your goals / expectations are for this year?
Well, we expect to be in the tournament. We expect to make a run to get into the national tournament. And that's a goal every year for us. I think we're deeper, and I think it's a more attainable goal this year. It really just depends on how fast the youth catch up and how much leadership the older guys bring. I think if the melting the pot of the group work well together, I think the sky's the limit. I expect us to, like I said, make a run to win the conference, get in the national tournament. I think those are all possible expectations that the boys come to play. I think all those things can happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now what would you say your team strengths are for this year?
Well, I would, for the first time in the history of our program, I'd say maybe our front line. We're deeper in the forwards than we've ever been. Our midfield and forwards, we have some depth. We don't generally have that kind of depth over the years, and somebody gets hurt. But we're able to look at a couple different formations because we have some really good athletes who can put the ball in the net. And changing how we've played, we are changing some things that would be different than what people are used to seeing this year. Tried to start making some of those changes in the spring, but just finding a way to put the ball in the net and keep people out of the goal.
All right, and then now there's 3 groups I want to talk about. First I want to go through our upperclassmen. Of course, our team is very, very young. Who are some of the upperclassmen that you would see making an impact, being in a leadership role in those kind of things?
Well, we have 4 seniors, and we lost Grant Conklin last minute with a knee injury, which that will hurt us. Senior captain coming in for his last year, so we'll miss him. He always brought great leadership to the team and helped us kind of rebuild our code of ethics with SOAR, which is standard of a Raven. So Sam Rollison is taking an extra year, taking his COVID year, starting to head towards his master's, get that stuff in order. He's a talented kid that can bring really good leadership to the table. Unfortunately, you have like Noah LaBelle, who is here, but you know his career, his knee is unable to perform anymore. But good to have him around the program to be able to speak to the younger guys and help out. But I'm just it's a good group of upperclassmen from Gonzer to Humber, Frost. We've added a senior to the group, Bell, which is from Missouri. He's actually done this year. He's got college whipped in 2 years.
Okay.
So he is actually moving to the senior class that we weren't expecting originally. Danny Morrow, of course, is in goal, taking another year.
RJ?
Let's see, and RJ is coming back for an extra year. So that was RJ brings a sense of excitement and, always a good attitude, and he's a great kid, and he gets an opportunity to get an extra season in that he wasn't thinking was gonna happen, so. It's a good group, but again, a couple guys flip-flopping from seniors to juniors or sophomores. Drew Vaughn's actually a junior, but a sophomore, and with him repeating as our captain, his leadership is going to be critical for us to be successful.
Okay, and then now let's go into our sophomore class. Who we had a number of impact people come in to help our team last year. What would you go through some of our sophomores that you see to make an impact?
Well, Dalton Grubbs was all conference honorable mention, so I expect him to have another good impactful year. He's a good young defender. I really like him outside where he gets up and down the field, but he may have to play center back again this year. Gillig is another good sophomore out there that's given us time. We're trying to figure out how we're going to play with the offense that we have because we're deeper. But Uzi and Jordan Bossman were all conference last year. Jordan's been injured a little bit, but we've got 3 or 4 players that if you have the right year easily could be player of the year in the conference. They're dynamic and Frost and Usman are big, strong kids who are faster than everybody on the field kind of thing. So we have some pieces, and then you have Stephen Fite returning as a junior, and he is very creative and very clinical. He's going to be. I think he's ready for a breakout year. And then I don't know any of those other sophomores. They're a talented group, and I think they can be impactful. And then out of the freshman class, you have Josh Martinez and those guys coming in. We have a couple freshmen goalkeepers that can be impactful, depending on when they're ready to play. But I think we have 3 or 4 freshmen that could get on the field pretty quickly. So between the sophomore class, freshman class, and the returners really raising the bar, I think it's an exciting time to see what happens this year.
Okay, and then now we go into our opening weekend. We have the Raven Quaker Classic, where we host Berea on Thursday and then Asbury on Friday. What are you looking to see out of those 2 matches?
Both those teams are good. They always we haven't played them very much, but when we have played them, they've had talented players. They have kids, Berea scored early on us last year and kind of settled us down and put us in shock mode for a minute. With both of those programs going Division III here recently, and Asbury has very traditionally the last, 5 or 10 years been very strong, a lot of good players. I think they get a few international kids, and I just don't really know what to expect from them other than they'll be good, and we got to come to play to be successful.
Okay, and then obviously when we look at the season, every match is important. Is there any that stick out though on the calendar?
Well, in September, every game's tough. I do not like to play a weak schedule. I like to play a schedule that the boys got to come to play every day. I think that's the only way you get ready for October. The Normals, the DePaws, the Wabashes. A lot of good teams that should prepare us going into first day of conference.
All right, and then finally, what does your team need to do this year to be successful?
I think they have to be patient. We like to rush things. We like to go 100 miles an hour sometimes when it's not necessary just because we can. I think a young team tends to have problems listening sometimes, making sure that they're at least kind of following the guidance we're trying to give. They're great kids, and I think they will. I think they'll continue to get better and keep working together. A lot of them are really tired and worn out from Europe, and we just kind of have to manage what we do there. So, but I think it's a group that can find success, and a group that if they work together, things will be good.
All right, well, I think I've covered the questions I wanted to. Ravens fans, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow along with any more previews, any more content we may be putting out on YouTube. Of course, follow along with your men's soccer team throughout the season. Everything will be on the Anderson Athletics website. We also host 2 classics in the 2 opening weekends with the Raven Quaker Classic this week. We play Berea on Thursday at 5 p.m. and then Asbury on Friday at 5 p.m. Both matches will be at Fridley Field. And then we'll have a couple more matches for the Raven Spartan Classics in the following weekend. Coach Fridley, thank you for joining us, and good luck this year.
Thanks for having us. We look forward to a great year.